Sneaks a poor first half, but a better second half.
Yeah, we said at half-time, you know, at least don't capitulate, you know what I mean? Just go out there and give it everything that you've got. You know, we conceded a really poor goal, you know, in the first minute. You know, don't learn from our mistakes. You know, we did it at Alverton, but we don't clear the ball, we get stuck, and then I think it's an own goal in the end. But yeah, second half, at least we gave it a go. Got one back, and then, you know, you've got to say they're a good side. You know, ultimately, if we're gonna, you know, talk about things, that's how I want my sides to play. You know, never had a pre-season, but that's the sort of, you know, that's how we'd like to play, because you can see how difficult it is to play against. Like I said, second half we said, you know, the next goal is key. We scored the next goal, and then, you know, we're our worst nightmare in possession sometimes. You know, we're at our worst when we're in possession because we give it away so cheaply sometimes. But even then, we kept going. So yeah, you know, I can't fault them for work rate and what we're trying to do. But in the end, it's you know, it's a loss and a disappointing result.
A great goal, our goal by Theo Williams. Great dribble and a good run and a good finish.
Yeah, it just shows that there's so much more from him to come. You know what I mean? He is a really good player, and if I was him and I knew what I could do, I'd want the ball all the time. I'd get the ball, run at people. But you know, Theo he's a little bit timid. But if he wants to go on and kick on, you know, with Kings Lynn, that's what he needs to do. You know, for me, you need to be a little bit more, you know, up front. You know, you need to be a little bit more vocal and get the ball and show people what you can do, because he has shown, you know, whenever he opens up his legs, what he's got in his locker. So yeah, plenty more to come from him.
Obviously, it's been a tough 2 games, but you know, with a bare-bones squad, a makeshift squad over 2 games in 3 days, he was always going to be tough.
Yeah, it was extremely tough. You know, some still had the effects from Friday. You know, Liam looked like he was on his last legs, you know, and he's been absolutely brilliant for us. We had 12 fit players, really. You know, 40 is struggling with his foot, but you know, we'll battle through. So we had basically 2 subs that we could bring on. Jesse wasn't fit. You know, Kingy had problems with the baby. So the youth team players have got a very important game tonight. So, you know, these are the sort of things that people don't see, but you don't want to use them as excuses. But in the grand scheme of things, you know, it's extremely difficult when, you know, you go into an away game against a team that you know are going to play football and string you about, to have ultimately, you know, 12 fit players to pick from. And, you know, they conducted themselves well. Like I said, we said at half-time, just make sure, you know, that we are compact, that we don't give away too much space, and then can we score the next goal, which we did. But then, you know, the hit is on the break straight away. But sums everything up. I keep saying the same thing over and over again. You might as well put the same interview out, because, you know, it sums us up. And tough to take. You know, it's especially when you think that we had periods during the season, you know, where it really looked like we could get out of it, but we kept shooting ourselves in the foot, and in the end, you are where you are for a reason.
And just finally, I was to say, it was the final away game of the season. The lads, you know, the supporters, the lads and the girls come out in good numbers again.
Yeah.
And supported the team well today, and all season really.
Yeah, you know, the supporters have been brilliant. You know, you got to have give them a massive pat on the back, you know, to supporters, and to come home and away, you know, when the results and you know, the league table hasn't been good enough. But that just shows you how they are dedicated to this lovely club, you know, that probably has been punching above their weight, you know, for the last, you know, 2 seasons. And, you know, hopefully they'll get something to shout about again next season.